Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
This is a special edition of Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Our guest today on the special edition is U.S. Representative Shelly Berkley. Welcome to the program, Congressman. It's good to have you here.
Thanks, Sam. It's great to be here.
Okay, I want to start off, we have a short first segment here. There was a decision yesterday from the appeals court that says that Judith Miller of the New York Times and Matthew Cooper of Time magazine have no First Amendment protections from grand jury subpoenas seeking the names of their sources. And this goes back to the Valerie Plame outing by Robert Novak. This is an outrageous situation. Here in the state of Nevada, we have a SHIELD law. Isn't it time for us to have a federal SHIELD law so that reporters are protected?
I believe it is, and I was absolutely astounded by the court decision. I think there are constitutional protections. I watched her on television yesterday, last night, and I completely agree with her position, and I think we ought to introduce a SHIELD law here in Congress.
You know, she said, and this is a quote from a New York Times article, she said, "This is scary. I risk going to jail," she said, "for a story I didn't write for reasons a court won't explain."
I couldn't agree with her more. As I said, I was absolutely astounded at the court decision. I think that is a tremendous interference with First Amendment rights, and it's an interference with freedom of the press. And we need to do something here in Congress, and we need to do it fast.
Congresswoman, a couple nights ago, I was watching the President's channel, Fox News, and they had clips of Harry Reid and then President Bill Clinton saying that Social Security was in crisis and needed to be fixed. Now that President Bush is proposing fixing the system, the Democrats are against it. Is this kind of flip-flopping again by the Democrats over Social Security?
No, I don't think so. I think we all agree that there's a problem with Social Security and we need to shore up the system. Where we disagree is when we're fundamentally going to have a problem and what we need to do to fix that problem. The president calls it a crisis. I don't believe it's a crisis, but I think we all realize that by the year 2052, there's going to be less money going out than coming in. So what do you do to fix it? There are a number of ways without turning the system inside out, without privatizing accounts, without taking trillions and trillions of dollars out of the budget, which is going to add to our debt, which means our children and our children's children are going to be paying for these private accounts, and also the lessening of benefits. I am all for fixing that Social Security system. I've got the fastest growing senior population in the United States in my congressional district. Obviously, issues that affect seniors, particularly Social Security, are very, very important to me because they're important to the people I represent. But under no circumstances do we have a diminution of benefits. Under no circumstances do we borrow money so that people can invest in the stock market. And under no circumstances do we have risky investments in the stock market so that in the end these personal accounts will pay less for people's retirement than they already have in the benefits of Social Security.
Okay, but how do you fix it then?
Oh, there's so many ways. The first thing we could start doing is stop spending Social Security money. Now, I know in past elections, people started rolling their eyes whenever we talked about a Social Security lockbox. But the reality is we are using our Social Security trust fund money to pay for other expenses in the federal government. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop deficit spending, because the money, when we had a surplus, what President Clinton was saying and what I agreed with when we did have that surplus was to start taking that surplus and replenishing the Social Security trust account so that it will be solvent for hundreds of years into the future. And that's what we should be doing. There are other little ways that you can take care of it without privatizing. I mean, you know, we've all heard the expression, I lost my shirt in the stock market. I mean, after Enron and Tyco and WorldCom, who would be foolish enough to invest their retirement money in the stock market? It's a gamble, and I represent a gambling town. I know a good gamble when I see it. This is not it.
Okay, Congressman, I want to take a break. We'll have to come back and talk more about this. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And we're talking by satellite with Shelly Berkley, a U.S. Congressperson, and it's a pleasure to have you on the program. I got to come back at you, though. You know, in our last segment, you were just slamming the stock market as a safe place to put your money, yet millions and millions of Americans invest through their 401k plans, private investment plans. Are you saying
and I'm all for that. I'm all for that, because that's over and above Social Security.
Right, but how can
when the president... When the president talked about...
Congressman, can I ask the question, though, please? How can you slam the stock market for Social Security and not at the same time be slamming it for the rest of the public who are investing in it?
Because it depends on what you're investing. If you have disposable income, if you have a 401k, if you have an IRA, that means that that's over and above the Social Security system. Now remember, your Social Security retirement is for your security. Nobody was supposed to get rich with Social Security, but it was supposed to provide the benefits, the bare necessities that you needed, so you could have a roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your back, and be able to afford other things that are the necessities of life. Now, when the president talked about having the public have the same benefits that members of Congress have, I agree with him. But what he didn't say is, first, we have Social Security, and then over and above that, we have a retirement plan. Every American should have a retirement plan, and our federal government should be helping to match those funds. So let's keep Social Security for what it was originally intended, as a security blanket for older Americans, so they're not living in the streets in their golden years. It also provides survivor benefits, and I don't know whether you know, but 20,000 children are getting Social Security benefits just in the state of Nevada alone. Then let's help middle America. Let's help America invest. We have the lowest savings of any industrialized country. Let's give incentives to people to go ahead and invest money, and let's match it. And that's what we could be doing to help people with their retirement funds. Don't dismantle the Social Security system, which is proven that it works and it's been successful all of these years. Let's enhance it, let's strengthen it, and let's give people the ability to invest pension and retirement money that's matched by the federal government, so that they can enjoy their golden years.
But Congresswoman, the thing about Social Security, you get like a 1.6% return on this investment. I could get a third-grade kid to invest my money better than that.
Now, what happens if you retire and the stock market is in an uptick? That's fantastic, because you make more money. Now, remember, the president is also talking about lowering the benefits to compensate. So there's a trade-off here. You're not getting your benefits the way you have now. And, oh, by the way, you're going to have additional investment dollars that are going to inure to your benefit. What happens if somebody had retired in 2001 and there were these privatized accounts? They would have had taken a hit and gotten less money than they would have gotten under the Social Security system as it currently exists. So I don't think we should be playing roulette with people's retirement money, particularly if it's the only retirement money that they have. Let's help people invest their money. Let's match those investments dollar for dollar, but leave the Social Security system alone.
Okay, Congressman, we're going to take another quick break here. We'll be right back with Congressman
Great,
Shelly
thanks.
Berkley right after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers with Congresswoman Shelly Berkley. And Ray, go ahead.
Congresswoman, the Patriot Act, is some say
Yes.
tramples Americans' rights, is set to expire sometime this year. President Bush wants Congress to re-up all the commitments of the Patriot Act. Do you think that's going to happen?
I hope it doesn't happen. I voted for the Patriot Act and supported it until I found out how it was being used. Unfortunately, the Patriot Act is being used for garden variety crime. That was not what we passed it for. We passed it to keep this nation safer from terrorists and terrorism. If the president doesn't make some substantial changes, I'm afraid he's going to lose me, and he may lose a number of other members of Congress. Our security is too important to make this a partisan issue. But if the president is going to refuse to budge, refuse to make compromises, and take garden variety crime out of the Patriot Act, I can tell you that we were using it down in Southern Nevada. The FBI was using it in order to investigate strip club owners and county commissioners that were accused of corruption. Now, I am obviously not suggesting that these county commissioners and the strip club owners should not have been investigated, but we already have laws on the books for that. There was no reason to use the Patriot Act. It has been abused, it has been misused, and we need to correct it before we pass it. The president's going to come in and very stubbornly say, I'm not making a single change. He's going to have a fight on his hands, and I'm going to be part of that fight.
I'd like to change topics on you here. You're an expert on the Middle East. You're a big supporter of AIPAC, the largest PAC that supports Israel. And
actually, AIPAC is not a PAC. It is a Policy Affairs Committee. It's just called AIPAC, but it's not a PAC.
Okay, I stand corrected. But still, you are an expert on the Middle East. And I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on the new Palestinian Prime Minister, Mahmoud Abbas, and the possibilities for actual peace now in the Middle East.
I've met Abu Mazen, which is his street name, when he was acting prime minister several months ago, actually a few years ago, and got to know him. I am cautiously optimistic, more cautious than optimistic, but I think we're seeing some tremendous movement on the part of the Palestinians with his leadership. What we need to ensure is that if there are going to be two states, they need to be living side by by side in peace with secure borders without any terrorism. If Abu Mazen can end the terrorism, can dismantle the terrorist infrastructure, of which it is very strong on the West Bank and Gaza, and move towards a peaceful resolution so that you have a Palestinian state living side by side with the Jewish state of Israel, then I think we have something, and he will get unprecedented support from not only Congress and this administration, but the American people. But he has to move in that direction. What I've seen so far has been very encouraging.
My biggest concern is will Sharon and Mr. Abbas actually survive?
Well, that's always very iffy in that part of the world. I mean, there is a very strong terrorist infrastructure. We know that the Syrians and the Iranians are supporting Hamas, Hezbollah, funding them, giving them training on terrorism. The United States needs to take a very firm stand. We are with Iran. We are going to have to with Syria. And I think we can actually make headway, and I am hoping that President Abbas not only survives, but he thrives and brings peace to that very troubled part of the world. Arafat did a tremendous disservice to his people. He stole, and there's no other word for it, hundreds of millions of dollars that should have been going to the Palestinian people who suffer on a daily basis, and did nothing to foster peace. Quite the contrary. He did everything he could to thwart peace in the Middle East. I don't think this man could ever make that transition from being a terrorist to being a statesman. We may have in our midst now somebody that's elected by the Palestinian people, that understands that his people have suffered so much, and that only by working with the United States, working with the State of Israel, working with Sharon, who has signaled that he is ready to move towards a peaceful resolution, he always has been, that we can do business and make that a better part of the world.
Congresswoman, let's get back to domestic issues, if we may.
We got 1 minute.
Howard Dean, as you know, is the new head of the Democratic National Committee. He says he's going to strengthen the party through state Democratic organizations. What does this mean to Nevada Democrats and to Nevadans in general, with Howard Dean running the Democrats?
Well, I have to admit, Howard Dean was not my choice for president, and he was not my choice for National Party chair. However, once somebody is elected, everybody steps up to the plate and works with him. I agree with his premise that the best way to rebuild this party, and I am very much, we need a strong two-party system for this country to work.
Congresswoman, I hate to tell you
well.
this, but we have like 5 seconds before the satellite window closes. Will you please come back soon? Thank you so much for being.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much for being here. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. This woman does not.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, great pundit panel for you as always. Dick Gammick is here, the Washoe County District Attorney, Alfredo Alonso with Lionel, Sawyer, and Collins, and Marlene Lockard with Capital Strategies. I am still steamed at the Congressman's comments about investing in the stock market. If I was somebody, and I am somebody, I personally don't think that Social Security is going to take care of my needs in the future. So I'm stashing away as much cash as I can so that down the road I'll have my funds, and I'm investing in the stock market. Am I supposed to be terrified now?
I don't think so. I think what my concern is, and I think it's the key and problem that even you hear from members of Congress, is we've gotten away from what Social Security is. It is a supplement. It is not supposed to carry you through the golden years. It is not supposed to pay for everything. It is supposed to be part of a savings program that you as an individual set up when you're young. So I think my confusion is that we're putting too much emphasis on Social Security as the catch-all, end-all, and it shouldn't be. You should have a 401k. You should have a savings account, and that should be a supplement. And yes, it needs fixing, but I think we need to get to that point first before we can talk about a fix.
I think what she was trying to say is that because it is supposed to be the safety net, that you shouldn't risk that minimum amount to help seniors in the stock market. When I was very young in my first job, I was one of those that said, why shouldn't I invest my own money? Clearly what folks are saying today. And so I did. Along with Social Security, like Alfredo, you invest in 401ks, IRAs, you plan for your retirement, with Social Security just being a minor piece of it. But I think what Congresswoman Berkley was saying, you don't want to risk that security piece that should be, and part of the problem that she pointed out is the luck of the draw. What year you get to retire, the stock market could be up, stock market could be down. Somebody that 2 years ago would be in a very bad situation.
You're supposed to diversify your portfolio.
Right, but
hang on, can I ask Dick a question? You know, I guess the thing that's kind of interesting to me is it seems like the Democrats are now doing what the Republicans are doing, which is using fear as a factor in slamming the president's proposals on Social Security reform.
Well, if I understand the president's proposal correctly, he's going to give the people opportunity to invest their money rather than leave it in Social Security. There's nothing that says you have to do that. Yes. So people make choices. I mean, good grief, where does it say the federal government guarantees us a retirement? Anywhere in the Constitution or anywhere else in our basic documents or our forefathers, we're one of the few countries in this world where we don't work until the day we die. So people may not be able to retire and have this luxurious life, but they got a right to make that choice. I believe in that firmly. And if they want to withdraw their Social Security, invest it or part of it or whatever, they have the right to do that. And if they lose it, they lose it. That's life. I mean, life is a risk, for crying out loud. I definitely did not agree with their statements either about the government subsidizing investments into retirement funds and everything else. If there's extra money to do that, cut my taxes, give me the money, and I'll invest it. I don't need matching funds on that.
You know, I think I might be like other Americans. Through this Social Security debate, there's a lot of demagoguery, both by the Republicans and the Democrats, and that leaves me, who do you believe? I have a hard time believing the Republicans sometimes because of this issue of weapons of mass destruction in the last,
Those
Bush
aren't being funded by Social Security.
but let me finish. And I don't believe the Democrats because they say that Bush is underfunding education. So they're both giving us a pile of horse pucky, and I just don't know who to believe on this Social Security debate.
Bottom line, I think if people begin to understand that it is simply a safety net, and they start fixing the program, I have no problem with allowing an individual to spend their money or spend their this safety net on investments. I think what the Congresswoman was saying is that she doesn't want it to be simply into risky ventures, and I understand that. But again, as Dick said, if I want to spend some money on the stock market, a lot of people have made a lot of money on the stock market, Sam.
Especially in the last few years.
And I think it's a healthy place to put it. I think that perhaps taking some of that risk away is what the Congresswoman means.
Okay, Ray, you wanted to go on to
yes,
the topic.
Today down at the legislature, supposedly the governor is going to announce a compromise plan of funding the Millennium Scholarship. using surplus and unclaimed property that people leave in the state after they move or pass away or whatever. And I just wanted to, Dick, what do you think about this plan? With this plan, there would be no selling bonds to fund the Millennium Scholarship.
I am absolute supporter of the Millennium Scholarships, regardless of how we fund it. I think it needs to be set up so it's a long-term. It is going to do things for this state that a lot of other programs have never done. We're already talking about excess revenues this year, somewhere between $837 million and $1 billion. Why isn't some of that being put into this to make it a long-term, secure investment?
That's what the compromise is.
Because we need that kind of education in the state, and this morning's paper was beautiful. More minorities getting degrees. Minorities have gone up 50% in the last 10 years, and that's because of the Millennium Scholarship. They're putting it on that.
I think to call it a compromise is a misnomer. The bond sale proposal was dead on arrival at the legislature. That was not supported by Republicans or Democrats. So I think this is a way to acknowledge that early on and move forward to fund it out of the surplus funds.
I think what people have to also realize is that the Millennium Scholarship came out of the master settlement agreement with the tobacco companies. So the amount of money that comes in from the master settlement agreement depends on how we collect those tobacco monies in the state. And I think one of the things that needs to be done is we need to start getting better at collecting those monies, because there's a lot of money that is not being collected in the state. You have a lot of gray market cigarettes coming into the state. You have a lot of issues with the internet, and those hurt the Millennium Scholarship every time that happens. So I think that you're absolutely right. Part of the answer is to try to fund it internally, but the other answer is to collect the money that's due the state.
Okay.
And that would be a very smart thing, but the bottom line is no bonding on this. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Is Nevada Newsmakers.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, the folks at Van Dyne Roofing can get it fixed with their eyes closed.
Where do I want to go? Me? Denver. Anchorage, Alaska.
Atlanta. Vancouver.
Chicago.
We can help you get where you need to be or want to be. Reno Tahoe International Airport. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Anywhere? Minneapolis. St. Paul.
Over 170 daily flights, nonstop service to 19 cities and connections everywhere else. Reno Tahoe International Airport, dedicated to moving you.
Jupiter.
And coming up tomorrow?
Sam, we have political wizard Pete Ernott.
See you then.